All right, hard yarners. Today we were joined by Brooke McIntosh. What an episode that was. I'm just going to say before we go through our sponsors, one of my favourite episodes of the last year or so. It's just so fucking motivating, really good for mindset, for trying to chase some sort of purpose or find the purpose that you want to aspire to in life. But before we do talk about exactly what we did cover in that episode, this episode is brought to you by alltradescover.com.au. If you are watching at home, you'll see behind our wonderful guest there, but alltradescover.com.au, they are an insurance company that specialises in trades, big business, small business. If you're a tradie, hit them up. They're going to be able to cover probably be very competitive with any sort of insurance. And I can't give you an example because legally we're not allowed to. But hit them up. They'll be competitive and give you a quote. And please just mention the hard yarns because they know how much they're earning of us, which means they can put it back into us, which always helps us deliver such incredible content. Also, this episode is brought to you by Kahuna Golf. I'm wearing that hat right now. Kahuna Golf. Look good, feel good, play good. If you're Delby, who's back next week, everyone. If you're Delby, you might look good, but you definitely don't play good. But at least you feel good and look good while you're playing. I definitely use it every single time I'm playing. A couple of mates have started buying the hoodies. Listeners have been using the hoodies for training in the winter. It's awesome. We got a Hard Yarns code word, which is Hard Yarns 15 for 15% off their attire, all the golf attire that you need. Hit them up, Kahuna Golf, and they're just legends, part of this community, and very like-minded to what a lot of the listeners would have. And this episode is also brought to you by Raunchy Brewing, where we host our monthly comedy show at the Squealing Pig in Northbridge, so Henry's. Get there, and we sold out 70 tickets on Thursday night, so that's going to be fun. But next March we'll put up another show, and hopefully we can fucking pub that one and start getting it weekly as we run into Fringe. But this episode was, like I said, incredible. Thank you so much, Brooke. Do you want to give a quick rundown of what we spoke about, if you can recall? Because we did touch on a lot.
We went everywhere. We went here, there, and everywhere. It was absolutely an epic conversation to have. We went wide into your purpose, into what sparked. I ran 1600 Ks, into what sparked that, into a little bit about validation, inspiration. What else?
I think even just the ultra runners are obviously going to love this, but anyone who's just a normal, everyday tradie, businessman, whatever it is, if they're listening right now, they're going to get a fucking lot out of this episode.
And it all ties back to choosing the choices to align to your visions. We talked a lot about goals, big visions, what that means, who you have to become.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being in alignment with the person you want to be. But thank you so much for coming on today. One of my favourite episodes of the last year or so, definitely. So, awesome. Let's get hard.
Welcome to Hard Yarns Podcast.
I am fucking fat.
Anything Chris White says, please disregard it.
5D is actually a state of being. It's a unity consciousness.
That was Hard Yarns with me, Frankie Rose. So I'm going to throw it over to your co-host,
Daniel Delby.
And Cameron Branch.
I would do this and then I'd gong.
Free in attendance for the millions listening at home. Let's get hard.
So, thanks so much for joining us. Very happy to have you. So, firstly, before we really get into a lot of stuff, tell us who you are, what you've done, and why you're here today.
Yeah, so I'm Brooke McIntosh. I'm an ultra runner, a little bit like yourself. Last year I ran top of Western Australia down to bottom of Western Australia. Not only that, I'm an entrepreneur, mindset coach, business coach, and everything else. Sister, brother, partner, bonus mama.
So that's like as someone who does ultras myself, and I'm starting to really love it and lean into it and try and find my next one that I can do. I don't do too many. Like maybe one a year I try and do. Maybe a couple, see what happens. But I'm very interested. What makes you go, I'm going to run from the top of Australia to the bottom of Australia? That's a mammoth task. So how did you get to that point first?
Yeah, dive straight deep. I got straight to that point because when I was younger, I turned to running as my little escape. But I would run maybe like 1K, 2K.
Yeah.
And then I suffered, when I was about 12 years old, suffered from anorexia anxiety, depression, eating disorders. And that kind of rippled on throughout my whole adolescence and throughout my whole 20s as well. And then I entered the FIFO world.
Yeah.
And I started working on sites.
That's not going to help the anxiety and depression and isolation. Yeah.
And I started working on sites, and I started having these conversations with the guys and just general chit chat. How you going today? How's your family going? And what the common theme that I noticed is that a lot of people suffered from their own mental health too. And when I was on site, my mental health decreased because you're so isolated up there.
Yeah.
It's like you got your mates on sites, which is great, but you miss out family opportunities like birthdays, celebrations. And I was working 4 or 5 weeks away, coming home for 1 week at a time.
Is that specifically, I don't know if you know, the reason you very rarely see the 3 and 4 and 1 shifts now. It's normally 7 and 8 or 2 and 1 swings. And for international listeners in WA, it's very common to do FIFO, which is work up north on the mines and the oil rigs and whatnot. So, the workers, they go away for a couple of weeks or a week, or used to be, 3 or 4 weeks, and come back for that 1 week. And you get paid an absorbent amount of money to do it. But it takes a mental toll on you.
It absolutely does. And it's like the time away from work to what you miss out in your family's life. And if people have children like that, and then even the relationships suffer as well. And that's what I see firsthand up there is like a lot. People don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to communicate their emotions. They don't know how to communicate their needs, their wants, their desires, and that kind of stuff. So it's like up there. The male, the wife, whoever it is up there alone, and then they come home, then they're bombarded with the whole everyday life that their other half has been dealing with, or the kids and the schooling.
And they need help because they've been by themselves, being a single parent or feeling like being a single parent.
They feel like a single parent. So when their partner comes back, they're like, help me, help me, help me. But little do they know what their partner's been up north experiencing 12, 14 hours days, working hard out in 45-degree heats, and then to come back into that bombarded without the communication of like, hey babe, this is what I've had to deal with. Can I just have 1 week? Can I just have a day to myself, kind of thing? Yeah. So when I was up there having conversations like this, and in August 2022, I was in the depths of my own suicidal ideation, and it was the week that I was planning to take my own life.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh. What?
Yeah. I was on my rostered R&R, which is like my rostered time off. And on my rostered time off, I loved coaching. I loved speaking. I loved helping people. So I would do that on my time off. And I was going to a high school this particular day, going to deliver a talk on confidence. And I was just saying to myself, how can I be confident? How can I get up on stage and deliver this talk when I'm not even confident in myself? And I was driving along the highway and I was like, maybe I'll smash into this tree. Then I'll just end all my pain. No one will know, no one will care, and I'll just leave. And I missed the turn on the highway, going 100 Ks an hour, and I missed the turn and I tried to correct myself. And I smashed into a concrete bollard. And smashed into a concrete bollard, car spun around, and then I got hit by a truck going 100 Ks an hour as well. So it was like double hit, double whammy.
So almost, it was something you were thinking of doing on purpose, and this one happened by accident.
Yeah. And it was like in that moment, I lost consciousness, and it was just like a white screen. I just remember a white screen, and it was like, not your time to go. They're just the words that flashed before my eyes. When I regained consciousness, I jumped out of my car. I had no injuries. I jumped straight out of my car, went over to the truck driver, and I asked if he was okay. Sorry. And I asked if he was okay. And he was, everyone else was, but it was that day I was lying on my hospital bed because I got rushed away in the ambulance. Just to have simple checkovers, but I had no broken bones, no fractures, just severe whiplash. So for me to survive that, I was lying in my hospital bed and I was like, you're here for more. Like how you're living your life currently is not serving you. It's not shaping up to the bigger mission that you've got.
Those moments feel divine in certain ways.
And I just asked myself the simple question. I was like, what impact do you want to make? And it was the impact for more and more people to speak up about their mental health, for more and more people to seek the support around their mental health.
Had you found a trigger or a cause for your mental health problems? Was there some sort of trauma, or was it just the pressures of life that gets a lot? Had you found your core trigger?
I found, I did. In that moment, I already knew my core triggers, and it was from early childhood days. My parents separated when I was 2, and in that moment, I believed that I was unloved. So I went from 2 years old all throughout my life that I was feeling like a burden on people, that I was unloved. I wasn't meant to be here.
This comes back to those self-beliefs that you develop as a youth. Davey Rowe, we've had on the podcast, talks about you develop those self-beliefs from the age of 1 to 7, 1 to 8, and whether they're true or not, it's what you truly believe, and it's hard to untangle those as you grow older, especially when you reaffirm them as you get older and you adapt to it in life, and then you react to certain situations with those core beliefs within you.
Yeah, I feel like it takes massive courage to be able to go back to those to the past. It takes massive courage to look at yourself in the mirror and to be like, why am I this way? And to seek curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
Because the choices that you make in your life, you're making those choices either consciously or unconsciously. And if you keep making those choices and you're going down a path of self-destruction, which I was going down, thankfully, this is my second chance at life. I truly believe that. I now get to do better, and I now get to see better. And yeah, my own mental health stems from childhood, everyday life stresses, my upbringing. I come from a family of 1 of 9. My mum entered the FIFO world when I was 12 years old. That forced me to step up and raise my younger siblings.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't listen to podcasts too often anymore, but I had started to listen to Chris Williamson and Alex Moisey talking the other day, and they were talking about this whole concept of self-accountability and pointing the finger at yourself and how empowering that can be, whether or not it's your fault or not, by taking that accountability, that empowering feeling of like, oh, I'm in charge. I'll point the finger at me, the person who put me in this position, and I'll get angry and I'll get revenge on that person and show that person that I can be better. And it was such an interesting way. And I think I already had that sort of feeling myself. And I think I probably talked about that self-accountability. Gary Vee talks about it when it comes to building business, accountability. You're the end of the conversation. It's always you, whether or not it is your problem or not. And it's so empowering to go, oh, it's up to me.
Yeah.
It is completely up to me.
You're the narrator of your own story. And it's like, if you don't like your story, change it. Everything that you have going on in your outside world is a reflection of your internal world. Change it.
And that you'll get people who say, but I've had this happen, and some very valid traumatic experiences, like people who have been abused, DV, understandably trauma is built up from those experiences, and no, they're not your fault.
Yeah.
But the only person who can bring you out of that is you, and that's a fucking hard thing to accept.
It's a hard thing to accept, but that's what radical responsibility is. And it's like, you have the ability to change the way you respond to something. And
so when you say radical responsibility, what do you mean?
So I was sexually assaulted when I was 4, when I was 12, when I was 14 and 24.
Wow.
So I could go through life and be like, fuck man, fuck all that. Like, I'm hurt, and play victim, and to keep bowing to that. That's yuck. That gives me the ick just thinking about that. Or I can step up and be like, yes, this is what's happened to me, and this is where I'm going. Those people who have hurt me, who have done things to me, do not have any control over me anymore, because I've chose radical responsibility for my life to rewrite those stories and to step into something new.
Yeah, you're giving them the power by playing the victim, not playing the victim, because something like that is obviously very traumatic, but by taking the power back and saying, I can fucking change who I am. I can grow from this. I can use this as a pillar of strength somehow. I can say, I got through this and I can help others avoid it in the future. That's an empowering thing in itself.
Yeah, but you don't just get there.
No, fuck no. Yeah.
And I think some people might listen to this and be like, how did she get there?
Yeah.
You don't just get there. Like, you have to go back and feel those feels. I had to release so much anger and rage, and I had to understand that what had happened to me was not my fault, exactly what you said, but what what happens to me in the future is my responsibility. And it's my responsibility to reclaim my power, reclaim my voice, and step fully into my truth in all of that and to move forward.
Are you familiar with the concept of be, do, have versus have, do, be?
No.
It's an interesting concept. So, like, the victims will play this role. The victim character will play a role of, when I have enough time, I'll be able to do this, and then I'll be happy. And then you get the workers, and I definitely fell into the worker style, which is, when I do this, I'll have this, and then I'll be happy. And that still is working towards a point where, like, I'll be happy when I get this. And I have recently changed, probably only this year, and it's hard. You fall out of pattern sometimes, and you fall back into your old ways. But I try to be the person that I want to be, and then I'll do the things that person would do, and then I'll have the things I want, because that's just what happens if you're doing the things that make you that person. It's inevitable to have the things that person is going to have, I guess, which is the life that person is and has, and I guess the character traits that person has, and the financial abundance that person has, or the connections and relationships that person have. If I am being that person and doing the things that person would do, eventually, regardless of what else is happening around the world, I'm going to have those things. And so that's the act and the intentions that I set, and that's an accountability sort of thing. And so a perfect way for me to, I guess, give an example of that is, if I wanted to be a fit person, I would go, right, well, if I want to be a fit person, I have to start being that fit person. What would that fit person do? That fit person might go, well, I don't have much time, so I'm going to have to get up at 4 o'clock to be able to get my run in. Or you know what, that person doesn't have the extra gravy on top of their food. And then eventually, by being that person and doing those things, I'm going to have the fit person, the fit body that I wanted to have. And the same with business and entrepreneurship, or whatever sort of area of that you're trying to focus on. Yeah, by being and doing, you'll have. Instead of when I have enough time, when I have this, I'll be able to do that, and then I'll be happy. It doesn't work. It never works.
Nah, because if you're relying on the have, it's not going to come. But if you rely on the being,
and even the worker style, where if I do this, and then I'll have that, and then I'll be happy, well, you'll get that, and then eventually you'll be, well, okay, what's next? Let's set new goalposts. So the worker still is constantly searching. So I feel like being is always, you're being the person you wanted to be. And you might change. You might go, oh, I'm that person now. All right. I'm at peace because I am that person. And I always find that is the more effective. Not necessarily the easiest, but it's more effective and long term.
Yeah, so true. That ties into something that I always say is, choose the choices that aligns to your visions. And
yes, yeah, exactly.
Exactly that.
Aligning with the person that you're trying to be. And if you want to be a victim, and I'm not suggesting, some
Please
of those,
don't come to my
yes,
corner.
exactly.
We slap that out of people.
But if you want to be a victim, you're not going to get through those tough times. And if you are aspiring to be someone who is happy and strong and through that tough period of your life, well, then you have to be that person. And that is, like you said before, it's incredibly difficult. It's not easy.
And also, like, knowing that can change over time as well. Like, you may have a vision now, and then you may be that vision. You may be that person. You're like, oh, hold up. This isn't fully for me. And then that gets to evolve. We're humans. We get to evolve.
Well, me and Delby did it at the start of the year as a Patreon episode. We did this as an experiment. I'm very excited to actually go back and have a look at it again of what he wrote down. He comes back in a couple of weeks, so we'll probably do it when he comes back. We did the be, do, have versus do, have, be, which he's the worker. He is the worker, and I've certainly been that. He likes the step-by-step logical breakdown. This is what I have to do to get this, and then I'll be happy. And he's done that, and I think he's achieved everything he wants. But I don't know if, okay, well, what's next? I think is probably what we're going to see from that. Whereas I adopted the approach of like, okay, this is what I want to be. This is what that person will do, and then you'll have what you want. And it seems to have worked as well. I think they both work. I just think potentially the winner option versus the worker option is a bit more longer lasting and more.
It's more long-term vision. It's more long-term thinking. And one thing that I fully discovered and know to be true since achieving my 1600K run that I did is it wasn't about achieving the 1600K run. It was about who I had to become. And it was like every day I had to wake up and be like, I'm a runner. I can do this. And before I even set out to start training for this run, like it's batshit crazy, but before I even started training for this run, I had never ever ran over 10Ks in my life.
It's crazy.
So then to set that goal of the 1600K, I had so many people being like, you're an idiot. You can't do this. It's impossible. Nah. And all I knew was it was just one more. So just one more day and just to,
So let's go down to the 1600, because 1600 kilometres is a long. So let's break it down. How did you, firstly, how far were you running a day, and what was the map of where you were running?
So I started in Dampier, Western Australia, which is super north. That's
beautiful as well. Yeah.
And at Dampier Peninsula.
Yeah, the water there is. That is
so beautiful.
So good. Yep.
And because it's home to a lot of FIFO workers, right? So I did the run to raise awareness for mental health within the FIFO workers and our younger generation.
Yep.
So I started there at the Blue Tree, and then I finished all the way down at City Beach, Perth, again, by the water, at a Blue Tree. So yeah, top of WA down to the bottom, 1600 Ks, and it was 60 Ks a day for 27 days straight. 60
Ks a day?
Yeah.
Wow. So how do we train for something like that? Because we've had ultra runners on before. I do it myself, and I really struggle the next day. Even my last one, which I trained pretty heavily for, and did, and in the end did the run quite, I won't say easily, but I got through it quite fine. I went out that night, had a few drinks, felt good, like it was fine. But the next day, I knew I probably couldn't have run that day. So backing it up is, we had Tim Franklin, who just ran around the world on a few months ago, and by the end of it, he wasn't, like, he struggled to sit down in that chair. Like, he was in Perth, he still had to run from Perth to Queensland, and he was struggling he had to sort of like leverage himself into that chair. So breakdown and body. How do you train for something like that when you haven't even run more than 10 kilometres before?
The first step for me was to get a running coach, and she thought I was batshit crazy.
Yeah.
As they all do. But it was literally, so my background in fitness is strength training. I've been strength training since I was 12 years old, and I feel like this has a massive advantage. So I would strength train 4 days a week, and I would run 7 days, or it got up to I would run 7 days a week.
And how far were you running a week?
A week I was accumulating maybe 170 Ks.
Wow.
Yeah. So my longest run throughout the week my longest one that I did was 56 Ks.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and I guess to work around a job?
I work for myself, yeah.
Okay.
So in that point of time, when I started training in October 2022 for it, I was working FIFO still for the first 3 months, and then working FIFO 12-hour days, going to train for 4 hours on top of that. When do I sleep and eat? It was kind of limited. I made the sacrifice to leave FIFO, go all in on my own businesses, my own companies, build that while I was training for this.
So I guess it's an interesting one, because if you're training for an ultra, it's at 80 kilometers or 100 kilometers, it's one race, it's one day, you're training to peak at that moment, and you have a little downloading, offloading sort of part of your training just before, just to make sure you're nice and fresh. Like, you're not training for a specific day, you're training for ongoing. So how does that work? Because you got to set yourself this intention that, I want to be right for the first day, but I need to also be all right to continue this for another, how long? 60 days? 37 days.
No, it was a month. So 27 days.
27 days, yeah.
So we worked in blocks. So would be like 4 weeks intense and then 1 week deload week.
Okay.
My deload week was absolutely my favourite.
What was deload though? Please tell me. It's
Deload would be maybe 80 Ks a week.
oh my
So
god,
it's
that's
still-
more than I
still
was.
high.
That's more than I was running in my training. You like my peak training?
But I was like, oh, get out of sleep in, a little bit more rest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 4 week blocks, 4 weeks intense, building from 100 to 170 Ks. And then on the deload, it was about 80 K, including my strength training and recovery in that. And then on the day off, it was literally just resilience kicked in.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like on the first day, I started in Dampier, it was 42 degrees.
I was about to say quite warm up there.
I was like, what? The whole town, the whole Karratha, the whole community up there were like,
Yeah.
you're a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
We just have, like, the week that I started, the heat wave kicked in.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course. And for someone who has experienced eating disorders in her life, I was always mindful about, like, what I was putting into my body. And I was always choosing the healthier options, as in, like, brown rice over white, or I don't want to eat too many calories, but I know I need to eat more to fuel my body. That was always playing in my mind. And on the first day, I ran out to the highway and there's like an Ampol, I think it's Ampol, Caltex, whatever, was straight on the highway. And I was probably about 32 Ks in. I just ran straight in there, cracked 2 can of Cokes open, and I was like, nah, I've got to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt so dirty, but I was like, nah, this is what we're in for.
I think when you're running those sorts of runs and then you're going to be going for another 26 days, you sort of like embrace the dirty, disgusting food you've been avoiding
It
for.
was so cool.
Like, I do recall just craving Coke.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why Coke, but
All
whatever.
the sodium and the salts in it. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Oh my god, it's elite. Now, I do see in like triathlons they drink flat Coke. All the triathletes drink flat Coke.
No, it's a fizz that got to me.
Yeah, okay, but they drink flat Coke so it doesn't
Upset this.
upset their
Makes sense.
stomach and stuff. But yeah, I guess it must be such an intense injection of sugar and sodium and all.
Straight to the brain, straight to the
Yeah,
brain.
it's
It's like,
fuck, and you crave it, but fuck, I don't think it's going to matter too much, to be fair.
I was literally lied out the front of the Caltex on the ground, like nothing. The ground was friggin' up on the ground, and I was gassed, and I was just sculling this can of Coke, and I was just thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah, because you've got to do this for another 26 days in the similar conditions.
Yeah. And when I woke up the next morning, my hips were killing,
Yeah.
my knees were killing, my legs were bent, like that was so sore.
It's joints, huh?
Yeah, joints. And I would go to sleep and it would take me probably about an hour to get to sleep. For the first 30 minutes, it was okay. But then the stillness, the joint pain would kick in. So that I would have to, like Voltaren cream over my knees, over my hips, wrap them up in Glad Wrap and just elevate my legs to get to sleep.
Wow.
That was so sore.
Did you have a team with you?
Yeah, so I had my support crew, Rowan. He was the main one. And then throughout different
Is that your
towns-
partner?
No, he's just a good friend.
Okay.
Yeah. Throughout different towns, would have support crew come in, drop us off some food, some ice for ice baths all the way down the coast. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, what sort of recovery were you doing post-run? Because how long would what pace were you running and how long would the 60 take?
Yeah, so for the first week, it started taking me about 8 hours, 9 hours, and with the heat factors. So then I started listening to everyone else, and they're like, you need to wake up earlier to beat the heat.
Yeah.
It's logic.
Yeah,
So I tried that.
Of course, yeah.
But
Then
one
your
thing
recovery.
I know about me is my recovery suffered massively. My sleep suffered massively. So got to a week in, I looked at Ro and I said, do not wake me up in the morning. I'm sleeping for as long as my body needs.
Sleep is the best way to recover. So, I don't. Fuck, that's a fine line because you're trying to beat the heat, but
So, and then the next day I woke up at 9 a.m. in the morning and Rowan's like, oh my God, you need to get on the run now. Otherwise you're going to be running in the dark. So I did. I had some food, got on the run, and I smashed out a PB.
Yeah.
60 Ks in 5 hours, 55 minutes.
well, there you go. Because the extra sleep.
Extra sleep. So from that day, I was like, nah, I wake up when I need to, like when it's time. I'm not waking up at stupid o'clock, 4 a.m., 5 o'clock to beat the heat. Like my body needs the sleep. So it was definitely a lot of sleep. And my Normatec compression boots kept me going. and ice baths whenever I could.
Yeah, I think Athletic Institute up in Wangara, they've got the Normatec recovery boots that come up your legs, or
Yeah. So good.
So what do they do? Do you know exactly what they do? I've never asked Corey what they do. They put pressures like massage, I guess. Is it?
Massage, blood circulation. I don't know exactly what they do, but they feel real good.
Fucking nice, yeah. Yeah. All the lads,
So it worked.
all the West Perth lads, I think they do it sometimes, and they go there similar with the ice baths and the stuff. And ice baths, how often were you doing them? What were you doing with them?
I started off on the first week. I was starting to do them like every day actually for the first 4 days, because I had a friend in Karratha who would always run ice out. But then after that, it was just too hard to get ice on the run, and yeah, so it ended up being like maybe once a week or so.
So we were talking prior when we were just getting a coffee downstairs about like the trances you go into and like using headphones. And I remember my first run, I used headphones quite a lot. Mm-hmm. I held off as long as I possibly could because I knew they would be like an injection of like, great. But I still only lasted a couple of hours in that first one. And that first run, I ran like 80 in 14 hours. So quite a long. I was dead and not trained. I think I'd never run more than 9 kilometers, and I would try to do this thing, and joints, all that sort of stuff. But you go into trances and you go into these like, the depths and the roller coasters. Were you going through that every day? Did you adapt to it? Was it?
Yeah, interesting. So throughout my training phase, whenever I was doing a long run, I would definitely go into the depths. And I would be like sifting through my skeletons in the closet of like, what's going to come up this time?
Headphones on, podcast, music, or just in your own self?
In training, I was listening to podcasts and headphones, but on the actual run, we had a fundraiser 2 days before, and on the actual run, this guy come up to me at the fundraiser and he's like, Brooke, I heard what you're doing. Like, that's gnarly. What the hell? And then he goes, and I really highly respect this guy. And he's like, oh, and I heard you're going to do it no headphones too. And I was like, I don't know where you heard that, but challenge accepted.
So you did the whole thing, no headphones?
I did the whole thing, no headphones.
You raw dogged it.
Raw dogged it for the whole time. That's a thing nowadays, isn't it? Raw dogging?
Yeah, raw dogging. People are like going on the trains and like on planes with no headphones, no entertainment. I don't know. Fuck that. That's stupid. But that...
So we raw dogged the whole time, except for at the end of each day, Rowan had a massive speaker blaring with music going just to get me there.
So in your own thoughts for 6 to 8 hours of a day, depending on how fast you... Yeah. In the heat, you must be...
We went to some dark spaces.
Yeah. So what sort of... Explain what's going through your head in moments, and because... I can only remember what was going through mine, but knowing that it's done, at the end of the day, I've finished. Like, this is a one thing.
Yeah.
You got to continue to do it.
Yeah. So for the first 0 to 10Ks was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is stupid. Just stop. Just give up now. And then after the 10, 15K mark, I'd get into the trance. And that's where I was like, I started making sense of my life decisions. I started making sense of why things I had chosen, or why things had happened to me, or why things were the way that they were. Started making sense of like my childhood. And then I would start going into like coaching myself into the flip side of it, and to the forgiveness stage and acceptance stage of it. And then after I come out of that, it was just bliss. And then from like 40 to 60 Ks, I'm halfway for the day. I'm over the halfway mark.
Yeah.
I'm over the shitty stories in my head, and I'm just like invincible. Off I go.
I find when you get to that halfway point, it's that big hurdle. You're like, fucking halfway there. Yeah. And then I always find when you get halfway back through the second half, you're like, oh no, it's still you hit another hole. Yeah. How often was that happening? How did you mentally get through that? What was your mindset through those sorts of moments?
Well, that would happen every day.
Yeah.
I would always be like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But because my why was way bigger than me, I knew that that's what kept me going. And how I got through the other parts was crazy. Like, I feel like this is divine. This is the universe working in its favor. Whenever I was hitting my lowest lows, or like hitting a low point, questioning my abilities, whether I should keep going or what, one of the community members would come past, just a random, and just give us a toot, give us a donation, drop us a Powerade, have a conversation. The truckies on the two-way would cheer us on. Whenever I hit those low points, it was like, come on, bro, keep going. world's watching you, or like, you've got this, just one more. And it was literally the community spirit that kept me going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And those organised events, the ultras, when the people run past you, especially like the people doing it in teams, and they give you that little bit of encouragement, you don't understand how much that means to the people who are running the full thing. It really does fucking get you going, that community.
Yeah, because although you're running by yourself, because running is like, you're running by yourself.
Yeah.
You realize in those moments that you're not alone, that you've got the whole community watching you. You've got the whole community not watching, but supporting you as well. And that one comment just lights another fire inside of you just to keep going for that next leg. Keep going for that next leg.
Why was it that made you, like, yes, I know you chose to do the 1,600 kilometres, but why? Why that? What led you to running?
Yeah, it was to raise awareness of mental health, but I think the deeper one is because my parents divorced when I was 2.
Mm-hmm.
My dad lived in Karratha, so on school holidays I'd go up there and see him. We didn't see him too much, or maybe once or twice a year. And then my mum lived down in Perth. So for me, like, the deeper underlying was to reinstill the belief that I am good enough. And it was kind of like a homecoming for me from my dad's house to my mum's house. Something that I really wanted to do for my whole childhood was, you hear about people like, oh, I'm at my dad's house this weekend. Oh, I'm just going to walk to my mum's house. And like, I could never, ever do that because it was so huge. And then, yeah, had the idea, had the opportunity. I'm like, why not make it a reality? Like, run from where my dad lives all the way back to Perth where I live now, my mum lives, childhood thing, reinstill the belief that I am good enough. Yeah, I didn't need to go to that drastic measures for that belief, but it helped me reinstill that too.
What is it, do you think, in you or people who set these ridiculous goals? Just running one ultra, just running one 60-kilometre run is huge. Just one. And what makes people, what is it in people that go, I need to do something that is so incredibly difficult that most people will think, I can't do this, you can't do this, no one can do this? What do you think it is in people that makes them want to do that?
I think the common thread is adversities and hardships that they've faced in life. Yeah. And I feel like when you face hard adversities, everyone's got different traumas, big T, little t, trauma's a trauma. But whenever you face that and you've overcome it, it's like, all right, cool, I've done that. And for people who set those big goals, I truly believe that they set those big goals for themselves.
Oh, it's always for yourself.
Yeah. Because it's like, sometimes you don't have control over the adversities and the hardships sometimes. It's like, yeah, that's yours to deal with. You can either go through it and integrate through it, or you can be a victim. And the ones who choose to go through it and move through it, they have the courage too, and they've built the resilience. So it's like, by setting themselves a personal goal to run an ultra, to run a marathon, whatever it is, they have set that goal intentionally for themselves to overcome, to go through, to fully believe in themselves that they can do that hard thing.
Yeah. One thing I found with those sorts of goals is when you achieve them, it's not necessarily, and you touched on it before, not necessarily achieving it. It's everything that you sacrifice to get to that point. And then you achieve it and you're like, oh, well,
So,
cool.
Yeah.
And it almost means nothing without people and connection around you. How important do you think that is? What is the when it comes to connection, I find that at the end of something, if you do something with someone, if you've got a partner that you do it with, or a business partner, or whatever it ends up being, or someone there to just cheer you on at the end, you don't care about having achieved it. You would care about having the people there to support you and the connections at the end. What role do you reckon that plays in everything?
Interesting you say this, because I did want to go here. I seen one of your posts the other week about achieving a massive run,
Yeah.
and then doing it again with your mates and community.
Yeah.
And I feel like that ties into a lot for the 1600K run for me and my next endeavor now as well. Because you can go out and do the big stuff yourself. You can go out and achieve the goal yourself.
Yeah.
It's who you become, but when you cross the finish line, when you achieve it, if you don't have that support there at the finish line, if you don't have the community there at the finish line, you're still just going to be standing by yourself. And that's where you can be wondering, like, is there more? Should I be doing more? Like, what is this? Like, cool, done that, tick. What's next? But when you're standing at the finish line and you've achieved your goal with the whole community around you, you're like, this is life. And it's like, I feel technology, social media plays into this hard out. It causes a divide, and it's like, yes, we're more connected than ever by social media, but we're so much more disconnected than ever as well.
Oh yeah, we're so divided as a society.
And it's like, humans need connection. We need community. We need touch. Like, we need each other.
Yeah, Johan Hari's got that book, Lost Connections, where he talks about connection being one of the sole causes of the mental health issues that drive people towards addiction and those sorts of things. So connection is vital for the human experience.
Yeah, and you can go out and be like this whole big macho man, yada yada. I've done all this cool stuff with one single band. Or you can go out and do all this cool stuff, open your heart more to receiving love, but also inviting the community along as well.
Yeah.
And to be like, to create a bigger impact that way, to create a bigger impact on someone's lives that way by inviting them in to be a part of the community.
And so what that, you touched on it just there before, you alluded to it, there's a new goal and a new challenge. Is that still happening? What's the new goal? What's the new challenge? And what do you want to come from that?
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, the 1600K run was kind of just warm up. I crossed the finish line and I was like, exactly that. I was like, is this it? I went home by myself that night, which, yeah, I was single at the time. I mean, like, that was my life. That was great. The whole community was there at the end, but I was like, there has to be something more. Like, I want to have a bigger impact. I want to have a bigger impact on the world, but a bigger impact on someone's life as well. And so I finished the line. My body was still in tip-top condition. The week after, I went out and ran a marathon. And I was like, why am I stopping now? And what I've realized so I finished September last year. What are we now? September. Almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Epic. So I finished almost a year ago. And what I've realized in the last year is, yes, it's who you become, but it's who you become with your heart open. And when you can learn to reopen your heart after adversities, after hardships, after being just hurt.
Yeah.
When you can reopen your heart, life is way more beautiful.
Yes.
Reopen your heart and allow people in. So now I have a beautiful partner. I'm a bonus mama. My training has completely changed because I now have that as well. But the next goal next year, March 25, I'll be running around Australia.
Wow.
And I'll be the fastest female to run around Australia, but I'll be bringing the whole community with us.
I love that.
And it's not just about me anymore. It's about Australia.
It's the experience, hey?
Yeah.
And it's not getting to the finish line. It's not the record. It's not the achievement.
No.
It's not, it's the, this is such a shit cliche. It's the journey.
Enjoy the journey. I've got to jump with that on. Like, fuck the journey.
Yeah.
But it actually is. But I wouldn't be able to do this Australia run if I didn't learn all the lessons in between, if I didn't become that person in between.
Fuck yeah.
I wouldn't be able to have this impact that I'm now creating and having on people's life if it was just all me. And this is what I'm learning now. I'm like, okay, my training has to be completely different.
What Alan Watts talks about is that life is like a song, and if the point of the song was to get to the end, then the song would be 10 seconds. And you wouldn't have the verses, you wouldn't have the pre-chorus, you wouldn't have the chorus, you wouldn't have the solo, you wouldn't have the other things that you really appreciate. Even the part that's the down part where you don't, this isn't my favorite part of the song. You need it all for it to be, to reach this crescendo. And it's like a dance, like you have to just enjoy it. And I've referenced that several times on the podcast before. And it, again, keeps coming back to that stupid cliche. Cliches are generally cliches for a reason because they make sense, but it is the journey along the way. And so a run like that, running around Australia, the experiences and the hardships you're going to you're going to come across are going to be part of it. And it's the same as when you hear about an MMA fighter, their training camp.
Yeah.
It's the training they enjoy. It's the working towards the fight. It's not the fight. If they can get the win at the end, that's obviously the glory, the goal, the greatness they want to achieve, but it's the working towards it. And I find that just in life, and I'm trying to make my life that earning something, because that's the enjoyment. That's the being the person that you want to be. What decision would that person make in this situation? What life changes would this person make? Would this person choose to sleep in, or would this person choose to get up early? And if you turn your life into the training camp,
Yeah. Your life is your training ground.
yeah, and it's such a annoying, shitty cliche, and getting people to understand that. Even myself at times when I'm going through a shit day and I'm like, fuck, I didn't want this.
Yeah.
But you have to. You
And I
gotta
think
like
it's
it.
important to recognize that you can have a pity party.
Oh, fuck yeah.
If we bypass the pity party, our life is going to become the pity party, and we're going to become angry and resentful. So if life is shit right now, have a pity party for yourself. Make the pity party last 10 minutes instead of 10 years.
Yeah.
Shorten it and then move on.
Yeah, Delby's talked about this before, like, don't rob yourself of the experience of lack. Don't rob yourself of the experience of anger, of frustration, of sorrow, of grief. Don't rob yourself of those experiences, but don't hold on to them and sit in them and become the victim. Go, right, okay, that's the experience I've had.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah.
I understand it. I don't like it. Now let's move forward.
Yeah. Choose the choices. But in that as well, it's like choose the choices, but also who you become, but it's also the conversations that you need to have. And this is huge learning, is like you can go out and train your body to get that goal, do all the action steps. But if you can't be courageous enough to have the conversations that you need to have to match those visions and to become that person, you may achieve the vision, but just a hell of a lot harder. You're making your life harder.
Well, even like today, for a perfect example, I have a schedule. I have a bit of a routine, what I want to do and what I want to achieve. And then you messaged the other day, I've changed my training for my running. Can we do this a bit earlier? And I'm like, yeah, we can. Now in my head, I have to get up a bit earlier. I have to go to the gym earlier because I want to do that. I'm set myself. That's what that person has to do. But I was like, well, I have to adapt. I have to, I had a routine, but it's without rigidity. And what would the person who wants to be the man that I want to be, what would he do in that situation? Well, he gets up an hour earlier. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You seem to be making the choices of a person who wants to go further and have a bigger impact. And it looks like you're going into business and speaking, and what's that sort of look like, and what's the new direction?
It's interesting that you say that, because for me to even send that message, there was like a little back and forward in my head.
Yeah.
No, you've scheduled for 10. You're going to put him off.
Yeah.
No. And I'm like, well, no, if we don't make it earlier, then my whole thing's out as well. Like in my head, it was like, don't be a burden. Just be the people pleaser, yada, yada, all of that. And I see it just happens in so many people's lives all the time. So sometimes there's a little back and forward in my head as well. But I'm like, no, who is the new person that you need to be? Who is she, and how does she move? What conversations does she have?
What do you think
she wants.
that listeners could actively do? What thing could they put in place right now? Like, because I've mentioned this the last 2 or 3 podcasts. I want listeners to take something active that they can actually implement in their life to make those changes if this resonates with them. What do you think they could do? What's the first little baby step they could do?
Is to separate yourself from your mind, because your mind is always going to try to keep you small. Your mind and your beliefs and your stories that you tell yourself are always going to try to keep yourself.
Yeah, those self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah. So like literally separate yourself and then ask yourself the question, is this true for me? Is this true for future me? If it is, go 3, 2, 1 and move. Make the decision, have the conversation, move. Literally count back in your head. I do it every single day. 3, 2, 1, send the message. 3, 2, 1, go out and do the thing, whatever the thing is, and just keep doing that. And it's going to be uncomfortable.
And if it's wrong?
And if it's wrong, who cares?
Yeah.
Apologize and
it's a lesson.
Going. It's a lesson learned. Yeah. Yeah.
I
3,
think
2, 1.
I'm adopted the idea of faith and in the universe, and if it's something that's destined for you, it's going to happen. So I honestly believe that if you make the wrong decision and it was destined for you and it was the right choice, it was always the right thing for you, it's going to come back to you. The opportunity is going to happen again in the right timing.
Yeah, me and my partner had this conversation over the weekend. We were talking about the universe and faith and what that means and how life works and stuff. And I truly believe if you stand and you live in your truth every single day, block out the outside noise, block out the influences, block out the peer pressure. If you can own your truth, the universe works in your favor.
Yeah.
Life becomes so much more easier. Does not mean that it doesn't become uncomfortable, because it is uncomfortable as fuck to speak your truth and to stand in your truth. But the more that you do that, the more comfortable you become and the more comfort your circle like grows and grows and grows.
And Mel Robbins is very good for that, similar to what you were just talking about. I think she calls it the 5-second rule. Count back from 5 seconds and do the thing that you didn't want to do. If it's get up early for the gym, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm awake.
Yeah.
It's I need to send that text message, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's very similar to you. You just taking 2 seconds off. So you're more efficient, so I'm going to go to Brooke method. But yeah.
And I think with that as well, there's always like a compassion that you have to have for yourself. So it's like send the message and then be like, okay, good job. You done that. Just breathe.
If it was right.
Did you die? No.
Yeah. If it's the right thing to do, or if you feel it was the right thing to do, if you come at anything from a place of authenticity and compassion, even if you upset someone, they're going to at least have understanding and in the long run that you were doing the right thing for what you needed at the time.
Yeah.
Or you were saying the hard truth to someone who needed to hear it at the time, and they might not like to hear it. But if it is authentic and it is compassionate, and even if you're wrong, at least you said it with the best intentions.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I would rather be hurt by the truth than hidden to by lies. I
don't like hearing it sometimes. I pretend I'm this fucking, give me criticism, give me all that. I don't like it.
Yeah, but I would rather
take
be
it
slapped
on.
in the face by the truth.
Yeah, I definitely take it on.
Yeah.
And it's always, I try to take it on. I try my best to take it on straight away. Like, yeah, you're right. I try to. I don't. And then a few hours later, I'm like, they make a good point. Maybe I can actually make a change in this area, or maybe I could do this or approach that problem from this perspective.
But you have to be so careful on who you take it on from.
Oh, yeah.
As in, like, I ain't going to take on any criticism from good old Sally who lives on the street.
Oh, yeah. You've got to be cautious and make sure. And hence why it's not instant for me.
Yeah.
I don't think. It's sometimes...
You ponder on it afterwards.
Well, is this person just projecting some of their own issues back onto you and making you feel bad about what you're doing? Or actually, are they making a valid point? Sometimes it's just someone projecting. But sometimes you're like, no, they have the best intentions for me. And they're trying to point out something that I could improve. Sometimes someone will have the best intentions and they just can't see it. And then it's a reflection of their own fears and their own lack in their life. And they're not trying to be a dick. They are trying to be compassionate and caring, but they just can't see the truth. So it is important to take it on, discern whether or not they're coming at it from the right for the right reasons, and then try and figure out whether they're making a good point.
Discernment, yeah. And the most successful ones, or the people who you look up to in life, they want you to succeed. And it's like a big learning and a big thing that you have to understand is they want you to succeed, but they're going to hit you with the truth too of what it takes to succeed in that field, in that area. But they're also going to be there to pull you up.
And so what does this new direction look like for you? Is it like public speaking? Is it entrepreneurial in design? What is it?
Yeah, so it's definitely speaking and entrepreneurial. So I do have my own company called Casa Stays. We do Airbnb short-term rentals, but now like that one's under management. So now I get to do more of my training to run around Australia, but I now get to help other business owners 10x their vision, simplify the process, and execute like a motherfucker.
Maybe you can help me 10x the income into the podcast, please. But that's interesting. And so, what does that mean? Are you doing conferences? I guess you come recommended by Heidi Anderson, who generally, if she recommends someone, I'm like, yeah, all right. I don't even look. I just say, yeah, we'll get them on. You doing stuff with her, or what's the go there?
Yeah, so I do some coaching with Heidi, and then I also go actually back to FIFO sites and I deliver talks on mental health. I go into the corporate world, deliver leadership talks, how to implement system strategies into their business too, do a lot of speaking, work with clients one-on-one directly into their business, help them build out their own strategies for impact to match the income that they want. One thing that I know to be true is if you only go after the income, the happiness ain't going to come.
Yeah.
Ain't going to come. And you're going to be left working so hard and you're going to be left questioning, like, what is this all for? Money can buy happiness, but it doesn't buy purpose.
It's in my experience that the money comes as a result.
Absolutely. You chase the impact, you chase your purpose, you align your choices to the values, and the rest is inevitable. The income will come. The people will talk. They want your thing.
Yeah. How now? That's interesting in itself because people will go, right, okay, I am going to make the change. This is the person I'm going to be. I'm going to start putting the right game plans into action, and I'm going to start getting there. And it doesn't happen straight away. And you go through dark moments, scary moments, fear of, have I made the right decision? Is this going to pay off? All of the things go through your head. And that obviously impacts mental health as well. How do we attack that, do you think, from your perspective? How do we circumnavigate the dark thoughts and the doubts that go through our mind?
Again, it just ties back to you standing fully in your truth. And if you want something to be achieved so badly, if you want to be that person so badly, you will do whatever it takes. And I say always, just one more day, step and breath, and you achieve it. If it becomes way too hard and you want to quit, remind yourself of the purpose and that person you want to be. And if that's not strong enough, well, then maybe you're trying to be that person and achieve that vision for someone else. And if that's the case, babe, stop seeking validation from the outside. Validate yourself and then go down that path.
Yeah, I think people definitely fall into the trap of like, I need to figure out what I want to do that I love.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, okay, I like the idea of, I think for me, it was like, being a filmmaker or whatever it ended up was at the start. I can't recall what the original one was, but it was like, I want to do that. And then you start working towards that. That's that, the do this, have this, and then you'll be happy. That's the worker. And I don't think that is what it is anymore. I used to think it is figure out what you want to do, figure out what is going to make you happiest. But I don't think it's our role to figure out what's going to make us happiest. Our role is to be the happiest person we can be, and then what we find will be what drives us and what makes us inspired to get up every day. We'll find that on the journey, on the way there, because you are that person.
Yeah.
You're surrounding yourself with the opportunities to find your purpose.
Surrounding yourself with the opportunities and the right people is huge, but it's like people try to box themselves in so much. Stop boxing yourself in. If something sparks your passion, lead with intrigue, lead with curiosity for that. Be like, oh, I'm passionate about that. Like, what could be there? Go out and try it. And the way that I speak into this massively is I entered the I went solo traveling when I was 21 and I traveled all around Southeast Asia, all around America, all by myself for maybe about 11 months total. The person that is sitting before you here today, like 5 years ago, is completely different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that person who was traveling, I used drugs and alcohol to escape all the pain.
Oh, yeah.
And that led me into a hospital bed. I fell off a scooter in Bali and was in recovery for 6 months because I smashed up my knee.
Yeah.
Come back and I was like, maybe solo traveling isn't for me. Yeah. However, when I was out there, I was trying so hard to make that dream a reality.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't coming through. And then I come back and I was like, okay, what's next? And I was like, maybe I'll just go FIFO. I'll be a trade assistant. I'll be a truck driver, just like my mum. I'll follow her dream, her footsteps.
Yeah.
I did that. I absolutely hated it. I mean, I loved it for the first few months and then I absolutely hated it. I was like, there's no purpose here. And then I come back, I got a van and I tried the travel life again. And I have a really close relationship with my brother. Would always compare myself to my brother growing up. And I was like, I just want to be like him. Just want to be like him. If he can accept me, if he can validate me, like then I'll be happy. And my brother plays AFL. So he would always like help coach me along the way or just like give me some words and whatever. But when I started the 1600K run, when I had the initial idea to do it, I asked my brother and he was like, don't think you're going to do it. You're going to give up, yada, yada. When I finished the 1600K run, I said to him, I was like, Cam, did you believe in me? Why did you not believe in me? And he said, no, I didn't believe in you. Why? Because every time you go after something and adversity strikes, hardship strikes, you give up and it's all too hard. And I thought you were going to get an injury on the run and you'll use that as your hardship as to why you didn't achieve the run. And it was in that moment that I realized if you are chasing your own dreams, fulfilling your own purpose and your passions, you will do whatever it takes. It doesn't matter how many hardships pop up. Doesn't matter how many adversities pop up. You will go through the shit storms and just keep going just one more to make it achievable. And that's what I look at people. I'm like, is it actually too hard? Are you being a little bitch? Or do you want to give up because it's not actually yours? Or is it really hard? Shit sucks right now, but you're willing to go just one more.
Yeah. Because you're able to, because you do naturally encounter hardships along the way in any journey.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're trying to be that person, like I talk about,
Absolutely.
instead of trying to chase it and just being it, doesn't mean that, there's not going to be a tornado hit your house and knock it down or whatever. Some sort of hardship's going to happen.
Yeah.
I guess it is, again, what would that person do in the situation, that person you want to be?
Yeah.
What would they do in the hard situation? Would they push through adversity? Would they find an excuse and give up? I know which person I would want to be.
Yeah.
I know
every
sometimes
time I gave up because I was like, well, this is my mum's dream.
But then if you zoom out, maybe that run, maybe you did have to give up. Maybe you got an irreversible damage in your knee and go, right, I can't do it now. I actually have to give up. You might think in that moment, I've failed. But then if you zoom out and go, I didn't give up because I went back next year and I did it and I did achieve it.
Yeah.
Or if you fail again, it's not a failure. Zoom out further. It's taken me 3 attempts to do this and now I've got it. So
because I've become that person.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes zooming out on your goals and your life and looking at it from that perspective of like, no, I didn't give up. I didn't fail. I hurt my knee on this run and I had to stop.
I'm choosing the healthiest option for me right now. I'm not going to push my body to like my legs hanging off.
And I will go back and I will achieve it and I will get there. But at that time, if you look at it in the single run, you'll look at it and go, I failed.
Yeah.
Just zoom out and it's 2 runs. No, I eventually got it.
Have you seen this movie on Netflix called Naiad?
No.
It is like, I watched it and I've cried the whole way through.
What's it called?
Naiad.
Naiad. What's it about?
NIAD. It's about, I'm pretty sure she's 68 years old and she did exactly that. She wanted to swim from the UK to the US and she tried to do it in her 30s, didn't achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
She stopped swimming for maybe about 10, 15 years. Mm-hmm. But then when she was in her 50s, it came back again. She's like, I need to do that. Mm. She went again. Her coach just said no. She went again, didn't achieve it. She was getting stung by jellyfish, these hard out jellyfish in the waters. And she ended up not achieving it. Went back the 3rd time, didn't achieve it. She kept going back until she achieved it. She had one person in the boat doing the whole swim with her. Like she was swimming. She wasn't allowed to touch the boat, feeding her from the side. It took her 18 hours in the water. So many jellyfish. But when she was 63 years old, she achieved the swim. And she just kept going back. But that was exactly right. She zoomed out and she knew that that was her dream to achieve.
So her journey was not to just swim it. Her journey was to swim it and fail and continue to strive towards achieving this goal.
Yeah.
And if you look at it like that, that's a completely different journey.
Yeah.
No one wants to fucking have to stop 6 times along the way and not get the job done. But that in itself is even more inspirational.
The resilience to get back up and go again. And to be like, this is mine. I'm going to claim this. This is mine. Like, get back up, go.
And the unknown of whether you will eventually get there.
Mm-hmm.
But that hardens the mind, hardens the soul, hardens the determination.
Yeah. And going back to the start of our conversation now, it's like when I was in that truck accident, I asked myself the question, what impact do you want to leave? And I said to myself, like, I also want to leave no stone unturned. Such a cliche quote as well. But if you can get to the end of your life and be on your deathbed and be like, did I achieve my full potential? Did I do everything that I wanted to do? If the answer is yes, I'm like, that's success right there. Like, that's huge. If the answer is no, start doing those things.
Here's another way to think about things. And this is very unmotivational. Do we need success?
No, you just need a happy life. And if it's happy to you, like if success to you is to wake up whatever time you want in the morning, I don't know if you want to work or whatever it is. If success is just walking along the beach, or if success is $1 million in your bank account. I don't know what success is to you.
Yeah.
But if you can truly stand in front of me and say you are happy in doing what you're doing, that's success to me.
Well, my unmotivating sort of thoughts on this is I quit my job as a sheet metal fabricator to chase my dream, to be this person that I'm trying to be. And I've got to where I am now. But I now think if I had changed the person that I was and I stayed as a sheet metal fabricator, maybe I would have eventually come out of that job anyway. Maybe it wasn't enough for me. But if the person I'm trying to be is a happy, motivated, strong character who's fit and healthy and good relationships with the people around him, he's present, compassionate, understanding, that's the person I want to be. Why can't he be a sheet metal fabricator that has a 9-to-5 job and it finishes his day at the end of the day? That doesn't sound very motivating. It doesn't sound very inspiring. But that also is inspiring because you're finding joy and peace and contentment within a job that maybe some people don't find very inspiring. I think I have a deeper purpose than that for me. But that doesn't mean other people don't. Maybe that is their thing, is to be a beautiful member of society, a beautiful member of a family and a great father or a loving husband or a loving wife. Or a great brother or sister or whatever it is, maybe that's what your purpose is, and that can be beautiful. And I think that's inspiring, and I think there's something beautiful in that people don't often think of as motivational or inspiring, but it is.
It's so beautiful. There is nothing more, motivation. There is nothing more that just brings this biggest smile to my face than seeing someone fully in their job or in their position. The garbage man. He's got the biggest smile, bringing my bins in. You've made my day. The postie. You've got the biggest smile, being the best postie in the town. You've literally made my day. And sometimes I truly believe some people are here for a really big reason, to create a really big impact and to do all these amazing things.
Yeah.
But that's really big for the world to see. Some other people are here just to be the best mum, just to be the best dad. And if you can wake up every day and say, you know what, I've done my best, that is success. That is purpose.
And that's why I think the best one is be, do, have. Because what we do doesn't make us happy. No. Who we are makes us happy, makes us peaceful, makes us content.
And start entwining that. Like if the listeners are in a position in their life right now where in a job that they don't want to be in, start being the person that you want to be. So when I was working FIFO, I was that person. I had and held the conversations with the guys on site about their mental health because I was like, you know what? I'm driving a dump truck, but there's nothing I can't, like I'm driving a dump truck. How can I bring more purpose into this? Okay, in Smoko, I can have Smoko chats with the guys about their day, about how their mental health is going. I wouldn't go up to a guy and be like, how's your mental health, bro? I wouldn't say that. I would ask them about their family and entwine it that way. And that was me being, I call it purpose-led, me being a purpose-led dump truck driver. Because I was injecting more purpose into my day. It was just one conversation that would leave me more happier and also the guys more happier as well. So it's like if you're in a job, if you're in a situation right now and you want to have more purpose into it, ask yourself the question, how can you bring more purpose into it?
Yeah, fucking nice.
You may be
How can you be the most efficient garbage man ever? How can you be the happiest wood worker, cabinet maker in the scene?
How can you bring more smiles to your services?
Why do we all have to be famous and live in the life? I don't think we do, and I've become okay with that. I want it. I don't pretend I don't.
Yeah.
I want money. I want fame. I don't know if I want fame, but I want the lifestyle. Everyone wants it, but also
Everyone wants it
understanding
to
you
them.
don't need it. And it's only in the last year or so I've started to realize I don't need it.
Yeah. And when
And I
you
already
take the
have it.
need out of it, that's when it loses power over you.
You already have it, I think. You already have the life that you need. I think you have it. And having that understanding is, again, empowering. It's just, I do think, and this is probably where social media and comparison is the thief of joy comes into things, because we do see people living the life, or we see this filtered life of what people are living. Oh,
Filtered
that
life.
100%.
It's the highlights reel.
I had the white picket fence. I had the house, the dog, the wife, the kid, the holidays. I wasn't happy. And it's because I was chasing something. It was because I was looking for purpose, and I was looking for all of these other things in life to make me happy, external validation, instead of being the happy person.
Be, have, do.
Exactly.
Be the good human right now, and then it will all unfold. You'll find more purpose. You'll find more happiness. You'll find more joy. And don't be afraid of colour in your life. I'm looking around here and I'm like, there's so much purple. I love it.
I love it.
But don't be afraid of the joy and the feel-good emotions. Don't be afraid of being a child. Don't be afraid of dancing in public. Don't be afraid to express yourself in the way that you want to, because that will inject more happiness and more purpose into your world.
And fuck, man, like, we're lucky here. Like, I'm never going to play. We live in Perth. Like, have you seen the next 10 days of weather? I'm very excited. In the famous words of Donald Trump, I'm going to come. Like, it's so good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like 26, 27 degrees and sunny for the next, and that for me is like summer is coming. It's on the way. And we live in a very beautiful place. Why can't we see the tradie on the work site fucking having a joke with a mate, laughing and going, right, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly possible as I possibly can. And like, why can't we see the grocer going, I'm going to stack these apples in a beautiful symmetrical pile, and I don't care if some random guy's going to come and stuff it up by taking them.
Oh my God, I would be that guy.
You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, find the joy within what you're doing and be the version of the person that you want to be. And the person that you want to be is a person that's kind, compassionate, happy, present. If that's the person you want to be it in every way that you possibly can. And if that is being a fucking brickie,
Yeah.
fuck it.
Just have more fun with it. Exactly that. And it's like, put your freaking phones down.
And it took, 100%. But it took me to go this whole journey. It took me to quit the job, to try to chase the dream, to try to get to where I am, and the doing, the working hard, and getting to this point where I think when I get it, I'm going to be happy.
And now I've got it.
And I've got it. But it was never that in the first place. I never had to go through that whole fucking process. I could have been the sheet metal worker and just been happy there. And it's really, maybe I'm the example for people to just see he didn't need that.
So question for you then, like the people in that position, like sheet metal worker in the brickie, and they're like, no, but I have to do that journey.
Yeah.
I have to do your journey. Like I have to have that.
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell Cam back then?
I'd tell him, start being that person.
Yeah.
And if if sheet metal isn't for you, eventually that's what will happen. You'll find the new purpose. But just be the person that you wanted to be.
I love
Find the purpose within what you're doing there. Because if the person that you wanted to be in the end was a person, you dream of this, like, I want a financially free life. I want a passive income. I want to have the flexibility to be able to do this and do that and blah, blah, blah. And with flexibility and owning your own business comes other stresses and other pressures. So there are pros and cons to all these things. But the thing I tell that man, whenever it was 30 years old, so probably 7-8 years ago, what I would tell him is just be happy where you are now. Be content where you are now. And if there's a person that you want to be, don't say what that person has. Say, how is that person acting? How is that person making decisions? What are his traits? What would he be doing in every certain situation? And then instead of asking it, just do it. That's what I would tell that man now, and he may eventually end up being in this position right now. But I think that man went through a whole fucking cycle and a whole circle to get to where he is now, realizing he could have been happy all along.
Oh, you have to. I definitely feel like, yeah, you have to. You can say all of these words and give all of these motivations and be like, choose the choices. That's it. Build the habits. That's it.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that's all you got to do.
And the issue with that is obviously we've spoken about this on the podcast as well. Life's about stories, but what good is a story if you don't speak each other's language? And if I tell you the best advice and I give you the best wisdom that I possibly can about a certain situation in life, and you're not ready to hear it, and you're not listening, it's not time for you. You're not going to take action on that, and that's why I've stopped helping people and I've stopped forcing people. And the best way I can do it is give wisdom and advice and have conversations like this. It's organic, it's flowing, it's a normal conversation, and someone who's ready to hear it and listen to that one little bit of wisdom or that you've given or I've given or Delby's given or any one of these guests that we have come on, that one little thing they needed to hear, when they're ready to hear it, they'll hear it. And I think that's all that's what this is.
Yeah.
That's what this podcast is now. It's constant conversations. And I don't care if we repeat the same thing, because in 30 episodes, someone who's listened to every episode might have clicked in their understanding of what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve in life and go, oh, fuck. He said that fucking 3 years ago and now I get it. You know?
And the lesson will keep going. Like, you will still be shown something, continuously experience something until you are actually ready to learn the lesson.
Oh, you'll get kicks up the ass. Fucking, what are you doing? Get on the path.
You'll get there. When you're finally ready to get there, you'll get there and you'll look back and be like, fuck, it took me 10 years to learn this exact one lesson. I could have just listened back then, but you weren't ready.
It all means nothing. Everything, it all means nothing. And everything means something. It's such a fucking, it's such a fucking frustrating oxymoron, I guess, maybe that's the word. It's just so frustrating that everything means nothing and nothing means everything.
We love these cliche quotes.
It's so fucked. I love it. But
So good.
But yeah, that would be the one thing I would let all listeners take from this, is just be that person you want to be. Start acting like the person that you want to work towards, and actively sit down and go, what is the person? Take 10 minutes tonight before you go to bed and go, what is that person I want to be? And not like, what do they do? What's their job? Just what are they like?
And
what is
not
that?
like, I've got to Instagram this. What is she like? Or what does he have? It's like, no, put everything away. Literally connect to you. Have like box breathing, 4 in, 4 out. Connect to you and then ask.
It's so serendipitous, and I don't think this is a coincidence. I always think that things happen for a reason. We do this thing now in the Hard Yarns. We call it the H Yarns community, and that's every month we focus on a certain part. So H Yarns. So each letter stands for something. So H, Y, A, R, N, S. So, hey, did we start with H? I think it was. H. Yeah. So it was, what was H? I can't remember what H was. I feel bad now. But Y
It was like help.
Help. Yeah. Help
Yes.
someone else. Oh, you listener. Like, but Y was for you. Do something for you. A is for align. So September is align. And it is to align with the person that you want to be. And whether that is, I don't care what it is. Everyone will have their own thing that they want to be there. Some of them want to be a boss bitch. Some of them want to be a fucking hardened ultra runner. Some of them want to be a savvy businessman. Some of them just want to be a happy father or wife or mother. Whatever it is, fucking align with what that person would be doing. That's as simple as the message is. So I haven't reminded people about that this month, so I'll make sure I put that on the story. But alignment.
I love that. I love that. And all it comes back to is literally taking 5 to 10 minutes to be by yourself, to find that alignment, to find out who you want to be, instead of this whole fast-paced world that we live in and being like, what's she got, what's he got, like what are they doing, what are they posting about? It's like, forget all that, strip it all back. And that's one thing that I help my clients do tenfold, is just strip everything back because it's like we're always searching for the next thing. We're always searching for what other people are doing, for other people's expertise, for other people's opinions, for other people's credit, whatever it is. And it's like, but what about yours? Like, sit in silence for 5-10 minutes and find out what that alignment to you looks like and what that person to you looks like, and allow yourself to be in that present moment, and then start journaling on that, start writing down on that. And there is no right or wrong.
Journaling, that's been a game changer for me.
Get your thoughts out of your head and you start make sense of it.
Oh, fucking nice.
Yeah, you can start putting it into action.
Who does Brooke want to be?
You said boss ass just before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to want to be that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that anymore.
Who does she want to be? What traits do you want to have? What's the person that you want to be? Let's use this as a working example of what people can do tonight when they go back and think about who would you want to be? What sort of traits would you want to instill? What sort of person?
I want to be a heart-led person through and through.
Yeah.
No matter what I'm navigating in life, I want to always lead from my heart and have it opened. And I want to be the kindest person that I can be, but also take no shit. Because, yeah, there's definitely a fine line between that.
And that makes things a lot easier to navigate your life, because then when faced with the decision of what should I do right now, you just go back to what do I feel is right in my heart. So it's a very simple, that one little thing that you've just done there, and I don't know, you probably operate like that all the time anyway. But if you're a person listening at home or watching on YouTube or whatever you do, that could be what you do right then and there. What's the person you want to be?
And that person comes out in so many different ways. So it's like, I want to be that person. Okay, I'm going to go get a coffee. Okay, do I think the coffee girl looks really beautiful today? Do I love her jacket? I'm going to tell her that.
Yeah.
Because that feels good in my heart.
Yeah.
That's being a kind person.
Yeah.
Okay, do I need to help out somewhere else? Or do I need help? Okay, my heart's telling me I need a little bit of help today. I'm going to ask for that help. It just makes asking, giving, receiving so much more easier. And
Receiving. How do you go? Okay, that's a tough one. I'm a people pleaser. I'm a hard worker. You know, like I go, no, I don't need help. I find it hard to receive.
Yeah.
And I don't find it hard to receive anymore. I'm very open to it.
Yeah.
I found it hard to receive love, and I was so closed off. For example, I couldn't let anyone in because I was afraid I'd get hurt, or I wasn't ready, or I don't want them to be part of my life while I'm trying to build, or whatever. And the first time I opened myself up to anything, and then you're like, oh no, it was just I was my own blockage. I was in my own way.
Yeah.
Receiving. How do you receive?
This has taken me a long time to get to. I was definitely like the hardest female I've ever seen. Like, nothing would hurt me, but now shedding my walls, shedding my layers, and allowing love in, what I realize is that if I don't allow love in, I'm killing myself. Like, I'm robbing myself from the happiness. And if I don't allow myself to receive the love that I'm so worthy of, I'm just hurting myself. So I started learning over the years to strip it back wall by wall. But also what I did learn is when I help people, when I give to others, when I help them through whatever, when I help a mate move a house, when I don't know, help someone with a belief, when I help them in business, whatever it is, help a sister, help someone in need, I feel so good and I feel so validated and I feel so loved. And I just love giving. And when I don't allow others to do that for me, I'm being selfish because I'm robbing them of feeling that way. And I'm actually being selfish if I don't allow the help into my life.
Yeah.
And that makes me go,
Yeah.
everyone help me, because I ain't a selfish person. I don't want to be known as a selfish person. So when I flipped the switch that way, I was like, okay, I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to receive. I'm going to receive whatever I need.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's not uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
I've definitely become a lot better at it. But I'm like, you know what? I help others. They can help me. And because I know that they also feel good when they give that to me.
This has been a very good episode. I'm interested. Where does it go from here? You've got your 100. Where does it start? Your 100. You got your trip running around Australia. let's sort of finish on that. What are we hoping to achieve in that? What sort of sense of community? How can people get involved? And what charity, if you're raising money for a charity, what are you doing with that?
Well, it's interesting with all this. Me running around Australia, bringing the community along. I'm a runner. You're a runner. But I also get massive social anxiety when I'm around run clubs. Would you believe that?
No, there's pressures. You've run from the top of Australia to the bottom. Like, there's a pressure. You're going to be a good runner. What sort of pace do you run? Like, is that an issue? Do you run slow? What do you run?
I run 5:30.
Oh, yeah, cool. Fuck, for 60 Ks, that's decent. Like, do you run that all the time, or do you have breaks?
I run roughly 5:30 to 5:50.
Yeah.
Pace, yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's a lot.
I ain't running with you.
Yeah, you will. You're definitely going to do it. But the goal with this is to, March 25 next year is to kick off in Perth City Beach. And then is to run all the way around Australia. So I'll be running 80 Ks a day for 180 days.
Oh, I'll come.
Yeah.
I'm going to come. No,
You're going to come.
What's the, so you're running from City Beach 80 kilometres away?
Yeah. So that will probably take me just past Mandurah. So come do that first.
I'll do that, leg.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can't understand it. Yeah, I'll do that. But how long would that take-ish?
Probably about, on the first day, the hype's all there.
Yeah.
People are all around. It's probably going to be maybe 10, 12 hours.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I'll do
Because
that.
I'll be stopping
do
off
that.
as well.
Yeah.
And having like food breaks and whatever as well. But yeah, throughout that 180 days, I'm budgeting 10 hours to 14 hours worth of running a day.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Sleep the rest.
We'll, in the lead up, getting closer to it, we'll try and see if we can get some listeners to come down and even run 10, 15 Ks, like something.
Because we're going to have the sponsors setting up in different cities around Australia, setting up different, what are they, like little events in the morning of the run that kicks off. So it'll be like Black Roll will be there, Found Space Saunas, Recovery Labs will all be there as well for the runners to come experience their stuff, but then start the run on the day with me as well. I invite runners to come, or I invite anyone to come along who wants to push themselves. Run as far as they want.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not running back, so you can that's what I say. We're not doing a bog lap.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole goal there is just to get more and more people having just one more conversation in their life to help with their mental health. Just one more conversation to impact the nation to take their mental health more seriously. Because what I see is everyone goes to the gym, everyone gets up 5 o'clock to go do the gym. They're starting to feed themselves better. They're starting to take care of their physical health. But mental health, yes, it has definitely increased, as in like a lot more people are talking about it, but it's still such a taboo topic. And I want to break that stigma. I want to have these conversations just as the norm. When a mate goes to you, oh, how are you doing today? And he goes, oh, actually, I'm okay. Like, I want that to be a norm, as in like, oh, I'm not feeling okay, instead of people being like, oh, great, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Cool, he's not feeling okay.
Because it's almost, it's a little bit insulting if you get it wrong. That's how you feel if you're asking. You're like, if I was to ask you if you're okay, you'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'd be like, oh, fuck, I feel a bit bad now. Like, maybe now they think that they look like they're sad.
Yeah.
So, but it's never the case.
No.
I mean, I've been asked a couple of times and I'll be like, no, I'm really good. Thank you for asking, though. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
breaking that stigma, that's incredible. Yeah, we'll definitely push into that. And any listeners that want to, do you know what, if you want to start running with me, message like every second weekend I'm running on along the coast, and I have to work around, being a single parent and like when I can run and when I can't, but like maybe I'll organise like a fortnightly run club that we can train to come and do the run with you, and I'm definitely going to do it.
Yeah, I'm starting
March
to get
25, hey?
March 25. I'm starting to get amongst different more run clubs now, but because where I'm at in life, entrepreneur, coach, I'm a partner, now a bonus mama too, and there's kids involved. I absolutely love it. So this training ground this time is Monday to Friday is my heavy training blocks. So today I'm going out to run 38Ks after this.
Wow.
So Mondays and Tuesdays are my biggest, longest runs. But then that also gives me more time to start running with other people, because when I trained for the run last year, it was just like, yeah, I'll go do it by myself. I don't want to do it by myself anymore. It's tiring, exhausting. Yeah, I know it's still going to be tiring, exhausting, but if we have community behind us, if we have other people coming around,
come and have a run with you. Yeah,
it just
definitely.
makes it more enjoyable.
I ran 16.5 Ks the other day, and that was a bit of a bit puffed. I haven't been running long distances for a while, so getting back into that, I was pretty heavy the next day, and my legs and even my back and everything was a bit sore, like upper shoulders.
Did you do any recovery?
No, I just gave it a
Had a
run.
beer?
Yeah. I actually went out on the beers with the lads when I watched the Sydney game.
Sydney come back real good.
Oh, it was great. It was a good game. But so I'm like, mate, I don't have any. There's no reasoning or there's no rhyme or reason behind any of my training. I rock up, I run, and I rock up on the day and try and run an ultra. So
Well,
maybe I'll do a
March
bit with you.
March the 2nd, you got to run 80 Ks.
March the
Train for that.
25 or 2nd?
25. No, March 2nd, 2025.
Oh, I see. Sorry, March 2nd. Okay, cool. That works out well because I was planning on doing a big fringe run, sort of like it goes to the end of February, and then early March, just having a week where I can rest and stuff, and then early March going off to Thailand for 2 weeks. So I'll do that. That'll be perfect. I'll do a big fringe run, do all the comedy shows, get the room going well, do the run with you, and then I'm going to go to Thailand.
Go treat yourself in Thailand.
Oh, let's go see mum and dad and have a good time. But yes. Oh, this has been a very good episode. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we finish up?
I think we've covered so much today. Actually, it's been elite. It's been good. We've gone depths. We've gone fun.
How do people reach you? What anything to follow? Your Instagram or any sort of charities that you're raising money for?
Yeah. So the last run and this run, all funds have been donated to the Blue Tree Project.
Yep.
So actually, last run we raised $75,000.
Wow.
For the Blue Tree Project, which is
Awesome.
incredible.
Yeah.
Australia run, the goal there is to raise $1.4 million. Elite goal, huge goal.
Fuck it.
But I'm like,
lean in.
if I'm going to be running 14,000 Ks, the least I can do is also raise 1.4.
Yeah.
The world can match it. But there's so many different ways to come on board that. Like, we're looking for sponsors. We're actually looking for volunteers as well. Even if you can give up a week, come out on the run with us, help us with the food, the logistics of it. But also with that, we're inviting people to set their own challenges too. So they can set their own run challenge. And if they want to join a team and fundraise that way, which will contribute to the 1.4 million, they get to do that too. But everything's on my website, brookemcintosh.com.au, and then across my Instagram as well. And just last night we posted on YouTube the 1600K run documentary that has just been aired all across Australia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it come to its airing, its final airing over the weekend. And then now it's my turn to put it on my YouTube and share that around as well.
Sick. I'll give it a watch. I haven't seen it. So, yeah, excited. That's awesome.
Gets everyone in the fields. The feedback has just been insane.
Sick.
It's a massive journey. It's for about 25 minutes.
Perfect.
Pretty sick.
Oh, that's palatable. I listen to 25-minute Russell Brand going off from the rant for every morning, so I can deal with that. But, mate, thank you so much. That's been very motivating. And I think even just for myself to reinforce some of the things that I've been thinking, I think I needed that myself. So hopefully a lot of listeners got a lot out of that. That's what I'd say, listeners. Go back, sit down for 10 minutes, write down, journal it, whatever you want to do. Write down, physically write it down, who you want to be, like the traits.
Yeah.
Not what you want to be doing, not what job, not anything like that, just who.
And don't put it away in your undie drawer. Don't do that. Put it away on your mirror to remind yourself every single day.
I'm going to do it again today.
Yeah.
I'm going to rewrite it nice and bold and put it on my mirror.
Yeah.
Oh, what a fucking episode. This has been good. I like that. Thanks so much for coming on, and we might get you on just prior to the run as well, just to bump it up and have a bit of fun, get Heidi on, talk some shit.
No, it's been elite.